Good day, everyone. Joining me at the kitchen table today is
Kenaydah,
who is here to tell me about life as a street kid in Vancouver in the 1990s. And he's got some stories to tell that you are not going to hear anywhere else. So grab a seat, put up your feet, and have a listen. And here's my chat with
Kenaydah!
So, what year was it when you got to Vancouver?
Oh, it was like the mid-90s.
Well, how old were you?
I don't know. I know I had a 19th and 20th birthday party at Sandy's house in Ladysmith.
So say you must have been 18 then, obviously.
Yeah, 17 or 18.
So we've almost established a date, a rough date.
Yeah.
So, okay, what was it like when you got, what was Vancouver in the 90s like?
It was a lot different than Ottawa. Oh, Jesus. It was a lot different than Ottawa. Ottawa and Toronto, Montreal were really the only three cities I'd ever seen. I'd seen a lot of Montreal, and it was okay, but it was still wintry, so I didn't like it as a big city because it just wasn't...
Yeah, Montreal is freezing.
It wasn't very street kid friendly way back in the day when I was there. Maybe it was just because I didn't speak French or something, and that was, I just wasn't cool because I was super young. Because I got that when I got to Vancouver, actually. Just not wanting, a fucking 15-year-old fucking Ontario fucking squid fucking new on fucking St. Catharines. I was like, get the fuck out of here. So I wasn't made to feel very welcome as an Ontario homeless kid. Toronto was just a rough city, and I didn't like that. It wasn't that it was a dirty city; it was just rough. There's a lot of gangs, a lot of fucking uppity fucking dickheads, and I didn't like Toronto a lot. Ottawa, I started going to, and I was just used to Ottawa. Like I basically lived on the roof of the Rideau Centre for a summer or two, and I didn't like that because it was like I know this place. Like my grandparents can find me if they ever go shopping at the fucking Bay.
Right.
So I'm like.
So Vancouver was the first
major city that I actually
lived on the streets in, as a full-time resident of the streets.
It was Vancouver, because even in Ottawa, I still just a little ways away from Kempfuller. We had friends like Crabtree and Dar and them that lived in the city, and that Cliff kid, Green Mohawk, fucking Nelson's buddy. We could crash there sometimes. So yeah, I wasn't even really full skid until I got to BC, because I was just homeless now. I was fucking at the other end of the country from where I was actually living. We left Perth, and we were living with these Russians, and we borrowed Svetlana's car. She had this 1984 Skylark, and it was already fucking bagged, and we were gonna. I don't know what we told her to get the fucking car out of the driveway, but we drove it, and it basically died, and we ran out of gas in Kenora, where we left the car on the side of the road, and we kept going west. And
Kenora is a good waypoint, though. I mean, that's 2 days into the drive.
Oh yeah, much. we slept about an hour outside of Kenora. Our first stop, where we finally was no, we all need to sleep. We all took turns driving, and we're like, no, fuck it. We're stopping the car. Some of us are getting out and sleeping on the ground. Some of us are sleeping on the roof, but we need to get out of this fucking car.
Right.
And, and that story's really irrelevant. It was fun, but...
Right. So, what did you do when you got to Vancouver? What was the first thing you thought, okay, I'm
what
here.
What the fuck is wrong with this place?
I have to get... This is the first thing I need to get.
The first thing I needed to get was the fuck out of Vancouver when I first got there. When I got off the SkyTrain to downtown, to Granville Street, that was the only consistent... We knew that Granville Street was the place to meet in Vancouver when we got there. And that was kind of we were at Jake's place in Clearwater, just kind of looking at a map of the fucking city, and Jake been to Vancouver a bunch, so he kind of knew, like, you know, he's like, oh, Granville Street, you want to go to Granville Street? We're like, okay, we'll fucking go to Granville Street. And that was pretty much that whole conversation. And so when I first got to Vancouver, like into the city, because we split up and we all hitchhiked separately. And when I finally got in, I got to like fucking Chilliwack, or I got to one of like the far outer SkyTrain stations. And for some reason, I got off at New Westminster. I don't know why the fuck I got off the SkyTrain at New Westminster, but I was like, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna go buy a pack of smokes, and I had $10. And when I left Ontario, you could get a pack of smokes for like $4.60 in some places. And this fucking lady behind the counter, she gives me was it a 15 or a 20 pack? And she wanted another $3.75. It was like
holy
13 fucking dollars for a fucking 20 pack of cigarettes.
In the early 90s?
In Vancouver, yeah, man.
Holy shit.
I was like, what the actual fuck? But I needed a smoke, and I wasn't quite reserved to just, okay, fuck it, I'm here, I'm gonna bum everything I fucking ingest now. So I spent my last $10 on a fucking, no, it was a 20 pack, so I could get a fucking 15 pack of these like fucking weird fucking A's discount, or something,
whatever, yeah.
And that was like fucking $9.80 or some shit like that. Yeah. So she said she could sell me a pack of smokes for $10, so I bought those fucking things. And I got back on the SkyTrain, and I got off on the Granville fucking Street fucking SkyTrain stop, and I got up, and you know, and I think about this all the time. Like, not only, like, if I would have even went out, like, the backside of the SkyTrain station, it would have been a completely different fucking experience altogether. Because I would have gotten to a city that I would be like, oh, shit. This is like one of these, like, old 70s Welcome Back Kotter episodes where you're, you know, this is supposed to be downtown Vancouver, but it's, you know, like a bunch of closed, sort of vintage-looking storefronts, and it wouldn't have been the shit show that I walked into, because like when you walk out the back, you're kind of like in Gastown, and you can see shit on either side. And I think I probably would have went towards the Robson end of Granville, but when I got out the front, I looked, and it looked like all business section and stuff. Like I seen big business buildings and shit to the left. And I'm like, okay, I don't want that. And I look down the hill towards the waterfront where fucking GM Place and all that shit is, and I see people. I'm like, oh, okay, that's downtown. Like, this makes sense to me. Okay, let's go downtown. So I get to, like, Granville, Hastings, Pigeon Park area, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is fucked. Like, these people are fucked. Like, this is, like, junkie fucking central. This is, like, a fucking back alley of fucking Vanier, but everywhere. Like, what the fuck is wrong with this place? And I didn't know anybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I had like an aversion to sketchy looking junkies to begin with. Like before we even left Ontario, I didn't like that kind of shit. So yeah, it was just fucked up, man. Like I gave a couple of smokes out to a couple of dudes that caught me smoking, and I was like, yeah, I better not pull these fucking things out anymore.
Yeah.
And I didn't try panning at all. I was at Granville and fucking this Hastings fucking place. I'm like, well, I'll meet on Granville, so eventually I'll fucking see these guys. The first night I slept on the bench, and there was a lot of screaming and yelling and some cops and shit. So the next night I kind of wandered around a bit. I went down to like GM Place, checked out the waterfront, I walked around the docks, I tried some panning on the docks and shit, fucking way up the other end, like by our little sightseeing boat fucking trips and shit.
Right.
And, yeah, then when I went back that night, it was a whole day. I didn't fucking run into anybody. And, I ended up sleeping, like, in the fucking hedges behind this concrete bench I'd slept on the other night, because it kind of, like, it had like a little canopy to it. I just kind of jammed my backpack in between the fucking rows, and I slept in there. Like, I was like, fuck, this is fucked, man. Like, I don't like Vancouver anymore. And then day 3, I was, I don't know, it was like midday, some shit like that. I ran into this guy Colin. Bald Colin is what we knew him as later, but he looked at me and I was like, what the fuck? And he's like, you know, hey, what are you doing down here? And I'm like, oh, I'm looking for my fucking friends and blah, blah, blah. He was like, oh, what's your fucking name? And he's like, oh, yeah, you're with Paige. And I'm like, yeah, where the fuck is he? And he's like, he's up on fucking Granville. I'm like, this? He's like, no, this is Hastings. And I'm like, oh, let's go up to Granville then. So we went up to Granville Street, and the minute you get onto the 1000 block, things are instantly different. Like the minute you cross the street from the SkyTrain station, it's just, wow, look at this place. It's like there's no junkies. All these people have fucking teeth and clean clothes, and like this is fucking great.
And there's stores and bars
that are
and
open. There's no blood
and...
on the sidewalks. Like, fuck. He's like, that was like Hastings. Like, that was one of my most vivid first memories of Hastings. Was like a dog-sized patch of blood just on the sidewalk. People just, fuck, whatever, look, another one. Just keep on fucking walking. Like, holy fuck. Like, how often does that have to happen where people don't walk around it anymore? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. For sure.
What the fuck? And it's Hastings, so that happens a lot. Like, yeah, it happens a lot down there.
Yeah,
and, I got to Granville.
That hasn't changed.
So yeah, I got to Granville, like the 800 block, as it's known, which is fucked now. But when I got to the 800 block, I met like a bunch of people, and fucking Paige was there, Nelson was there, and Tolly wasn't with us at that time. There were a couple. Jake was still, because we'd seen Jake like 2 or 3 days after we'd all gotten back together, and then fucking, or what was his name? Was it Jake? That little Saf kid. He ripped us off for like a jar of weed. But yeah, then he fucked off. So yeah, and then after that, it was just this new crew of people that we were hanging out with, and.
So what was the? I mean, obviously everybody knows that if you're homeless, you can go to shelters in big cities. There's Sally Ann and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, like, what was the actual, like, kind of overnighting conditions? Like, was it easy to find places to squat? Was it parks? Like, was it easier to sleep in the park?
Well,
like, what was
it? For me, like, I don't know, it's kind of like acid, and it's going to be different for everybody, I guess. But for me, like, I don't know, I guess I mesh well with other fucking drugged up fuckheads. So, like, it wasn't hard for me to find a place to sleep my first night fucking on Granville.
Right.
And, because we slept in a fucking theater in the Odeon Parkade. And that morning blew my mind, too. It was the first time I was ever woken up by a bunch of cops and not kicked or searched or any of that
or
fucking
arrested
shit.
Or
yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't even ask me what my fucking name was. It's just like, yeah, get your shit and get out of here. We're like, holy fuck. You know, jam the fucking sleeping bag back into the fucking backpack and just fucking kind of walked away. It was like, wow. I could get used to this. You know, like...
Yeah, well, because... especially at that time, if I'm not mistaken, like, Vancouver had a huge population of, like, street kids and homeless people.
Oh, yeah. Well,
like, probably more so for capita than it does now.
No, it was when we went, it's gotten, there's more now. They're at, yeah, I don't know. The condition of Granville Street now, I can't really... It's not like it's fucking more homeless than thou or some fucking shit. But, like, when I got there, it was already in place that these kids policed their own. Like, the cops kind of left the 800 block to its own devices because it was a powder-free zone. What they called themselves the Granville family, and they gathered at the fucking art gallery at the front of the fucking steps. You just called it the steps, and I'm not gonna name them, but there was a hierarchy of like a half a dozen people, and I don't know. I guess I don't know how I got juiced in as good, quick, juiced in with these people at all.
Right.
Because I was just some other dick. I I don't know, man. I just minded my own business, and I didn't rip people off, and I needed to sell dope.
So there was like different communities then of like
I don't
homeless
know.
people across the
there's
city. Like there was an 800 block community.
No.
And then you'd presume
No,
there would be like
there as far as
other
I'm
neighborhood
concerned,
homeless communities.
No, as far as I'm concerned, there was the downtown core skids, and that was it. We either hung out in East Van or New West, but you were a Granville Street kid because you were always on Granville, or you were a Hastings junkie,
right.
or you were a fucking a Davy Foufette. You know, like those were the three varieties of nightlife. Or you were an Asian gangster, or a fucking biker, or a Lebanese gangster.
Yeah, but they're not the homeless crowd.
Yeah, they're a lot more of the homeless crowd than you'd fucking think.
Really?
You got to deal with them. You got to work with these people.
Well, yeah, you got to work with them, but I mean, like, they're not.
Well, you're talking like what kind of neighborhood. What kind of a fucking climate we had. That was, as far as I was concerned, that's how the street broke down to me.
Okay.
You had your Davies, you had your Granvilles, you had your Hastings, you had your Seymour fucking Billiardses, you had your...
What kind of crew is like the billiards crew?
Oh, they're like the Lebanese gangsters and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, and then there's the Asian, like anything, any Honda with some little red dragon sticker on it is not a skater. Yeah, and you dealt with these people. Like you dealt with these people all the time well, no, you didn't. If you were just some backpacking idiot wandering through you didn't have to fucking deal with this shit. People panhandled, everybody was homeless. That's the fucking optic that you got as a civilian looking at people on Granville Street. But it was a lot more fucking organized than what it was. And I had nothing to do with that. I just became a part of that. I was just another cog in the...
You immigrated and then you integrated.
I integrated well into the Granville family. Like, it feels weird because it's like, the Granville family, we're a bunch of bums. Fuck yeah. I live in a box. But it was fucking awesome, man, and I love all of those people, like, dead and alive. Like, I lost a fucking lot of really fucking good friends, man. Like, some of those people are better than fucking anybody living today. Like, some of those fucking Granville Street bums are some of the, nice people you'd ever fucking meet, For a lot of us, it was a choice. Like, it wasn't a choice, like, yeah, we're homeless for fucking life. No, it was just, this is how we live. Like, it works for us. I can sell drugs to my friends and buy food and more drugs to sell back to my friends to buy food and more drugs. And that's everybody.
So continues the cycle of
life. Everybody did that.
Right.
Like anybody that spent more than a summer on Granville Street came back next year and just repeated that cycle. You know what I mean? Even like some of the trusted summer punks and shit like that. They would literally just be homeless. They had money. They had a bank card. They could buy fucking blocks of fucking hash and sell it to us cheap. It's like, hey, welcome to the fucking family, But that's, and that was all going on, like, when I got there, and it didn't take me long because, like, being a Kempville redneck, you kind of got that going on at the benches and stuff. Like, we were a bunch of little swindling fucking BMXers and stuff for the most part. But even before that, you could see it, and
So that's funny though. Like in Vancouver, did the summer punks actually were they allowed to?
I don't know.
Like occupy Granville when they just wanted? Because I know in Ottawa.
Well, the 800 block was kind of exclusive. Like
had their asses kicked.
Kids that panned on the 800 block weren't panning on the 800 block, and that was kind of it was under like the guise of, hey, that's my panning spot, dude. Like I sit here every day, like. Like this is a big street. You can sit and it's reasonable. These people are like, I sorry, I'll go sit down there. Okay, I'll go sit. And he doesn't care where you sit. You can sit 5 feet away because he's just going to sit there and sell fucking weed anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he didn't give a fuck. He's going to sell anything but powders. It was a powder-free zone. And these people were why it was a powder-free zone. Because it's like, no, you can't. Don't sell your PCP. Don't sell your jib here. So I sell weed here.
Right.
You go over that side or that, and it worked. Like, it literally worked. There were stencils that said powder-free zone, and they were spray painted on poles and bus stops and walls and
Right.
shit.
Okay, so there's something. Obviously, cops are aware of this. So
They were obviously aware of this
did
because some
you
of
get
these.
like some fucking cred from the cops, or in a city that's like infested with, you know,
Fuck
junkies
no. Do you
and
think?
powders
Do
and
you think the
whatnot?
cops are going back to their fucking offices
Well,
like, oh yeah,
okay.
the street kids are doing our job for us, just great.
Okay.
You should see it down there. It's never been so fucking quiet. Because I was fucking amazed. 'Cause honestly, like, to the level, because like, I know people listening to this are gonna be like, oh, he thinks he's fucking hardcore. But for a bunch of 17, like, and I was old, man. Like, there were some kids, like fucking Mikey. Nelson and Mikey were super tight, but this Mikey kid, when we got there, he was like 13, 14 years old, already doing his own heroin and shit. Like, some of these fucking kids were fucking hardcore. Like, some of these fucking kids scared me to a point, you know what I mean? It's like, whoa, like, what's gonna happen to me in a couple of years, you know what I mean? Like, this fucking kid ain't even in fucking high school yet, and like, you know, he'll
That
fucking
would be pretty fucked
he's
up.
drinking me under the fucking table. Like, what the fuck is wrong with this place?
Yeah.
And but like the kids we hung with were made of that crowd, you know what I mean? And you know, like, I obviously wasn't going anywhere, neither was Nelson, so they didn't try to usher us along because, like, we could be of use to them.
So, mate, cred is the wrong word. Did they give you some slack?
Who, the cops?
Yeah.
No. If they thought you were up to something, they did their job. Like, but they, you know, on the 800 block, things were a lot quieter than they were on the 7 or the 9.
Right.
You know, like, they just kind of drive by because they knew none of these fucking street kids have any cocaine, have any fucking crystal meth. You know, like, do you wanna waste your fucking time with another fucking weed charge? You might luck out and find a couple hits of acid or a bag of mushrooms on one of them, but you're not gonna find anything worth fucking taking off the street. This is Vancouver, man. Like,
yeah, exactly.
so, like, yeah, on the 800 block, we all kind of just felt a little more relaxed when we saw a cop than we did anywhere else in the city, I guess.
Yeah.
If you want to say, give us any slack, we felt better about them on the 800 block, if anything. So
Right.
we all just assumed that, you know, that was just the cops' silent fucking agreement. They're never going to fucking tell us. But there were a couple of times, as I said before, there was like a hierarchy of a half a dozen people. Sometimes you would see the police, like, talking directly with these folks, but more times than any, some of these guys would come around and be like, hey, we're trying to find this fucking runaway kid, if you fucking, because, you know, like, the cops are looking for them, and if we're
Right.
hiding them, we're all going to have a bad time about that. So
Yeah.
if we know where this fucking kid is, they're not fucking part of Granville Street, please fucking send them
Yeah.
up. Because, like, you know, and that was, it sounds, that's, you know, but fucking for real, that was a system that was in place as well. And it was actually laid down to me to the note of, we don't need new 14-year-olds coming down here getting addicted to something and then panning, because that's what we do. Like, every new bum is
Yeah.
money out of your fucking pocket.
Right.
And that was basically how it was put out to me. So, like, you know, like, if they're cool, they just want to hang out, that's fine, man. But, you know, like, fucking space is limited on Granville Street. Like,
Yeah.
you know, go to Victoria, go to Nanaimo, go somewhere else. But, like, this Granville Street, like, is filling up. And, you know, that's what I'm
Right.
saying. Like, it was kind of weird that, you know, like, Nelson's fucking, he's got a mouth on him. So, like, it's no surprise that but I was just kind of amazed that they actually let me operate the way I did so early on. Because, like, I was down there for years, and, yeah. It's weird.
Was it still like that when you left? Was it still the same kind of
It was falling
People
apart.
holding it down in powder-free zone and everything?
Yeah. The French invasion kind of put a wrinkle in the powder-free zone. The late 90s, there were a bunch of these French kids coming with
Quebecois kids, for anyone who might.
they were coming with the
confused.
raver scene that was crawling. Like, it was already kind of in Vancouver. We were kind of ahead of that whole scene though, which is really cool. Because when we'd left Ontario, like, it was fucking hard. It was still like going pretty hard on the East Coast, Montreal, Quebec City, that kind of thing. And when we got to Vancouver, parties were still kind of small. They were like club things. They were like rented hall parties. They weren't
They weren't like these huge
full-scale
fucking-
raves were
yeah.
like advertised in bus stops and shit, like the Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't such a common thing that you'd be stepping on a dozen flyers on the sidewalk. And we got there just before that happened. And Eric Van Pelt was a dude we knew from Perth who was like juiced right in with that whole fucking electronic scene, and he was cool as fuck. We weren't tight or nothing, but we knew him, and he remembered us when he got to Vancouver, and he juiced us in a bit with that fucking scene, which was when, you know, it just dawned on us that this was, you know, this is our
It's
life
like the new
now.
thing now.
Yeah, like, this is, you know, this is what we do. We chill with this incoming ravers scene that, you know, we've already, you know, like, we got a pretty good hook in already right now, and that was when we stopped living homeless, being homeless.
Right.
You know, like.
But I mean, okay, so there's a couple things I want to ask you from that. So first of all, I mean, was it like really hard being homeless sometimes? Like when you're actually like, I have fuck all and no way to get anything.
It sucked, but it wasn't.
Or is it actually like way
different strokes, man? I've had this discussion before, and people like the thing is like, oh, it must have been hard. It's like, you know, it's like that one thing, you know, what is it? Voltaire said life is hard, and he said compared to what? You know, like that's you know, I don't want to talk about myself, but I come from a small town, and not a poor family, but a very cheap family. So I didn't go without, but I didn't go very well with. So when I got to Van, I already kind of knew how to fucking hustle. Like, you know, because that's the thing too. Like, there's different varieties of fucking street kids. Like, I was like kind of like a B-level hustler. And, you know, then there were like the people that I had to fucking go through to buy fuck. Those were like the good skids, and then there were the actual gangsters that they bought shit off of, and then or whatever, wherever they got their shit, I don't know. You don't ask. And yeah, and then there's like the hippie kids. They're just, you know, they're just homeless because it's cool and they want to be, and that's fine.
Yeah,
you know, like they
touring
pan,
around.
they make like little hemp jewelry and they sell it on their little blankets, and it's, you know, it's kind of fucking cool. It gives, you know, it gives that whole subculture some actual culture, you know, and that's what I really thought was the coolest thing, was just how many different types of fucking kid just being homeless brought together, and not just like put
Right.
together on the same street. Actually made to coexist, you know what I mean? And like just, and like this, like, you know, this like was smashed like racial barriers and everything, you know what I mean? Like you had to get along. Like, you're not gonna have these pissy little gang wars with the hippies, you know? Like, this is fucking stupid. We got to get along here, you know, or the fucking cops are gonna shut us all down. So, you know, and it was fucking great, and that's why I did it for so long. Because it was like, you know, like I said, from Kempful, like, this is like one of the first times in my entire life where everybody I knew was kind of like my friend, and I could sort of trust people. You know, I think it was very new and refreshing to me, is why I found it not hard. at all.
Right.
Like, being hungry kind of sucked, but, you know, like, I've starved myself fucking hitchhiking way too far away from home. It was like, fuck it, I'm gonna eat something eventually. A slice of pizza and a 500 milliliter fucking Coke is $1.99 at Love at First Bite. You know what I mean? Like, I can find $2 on the ground in a couple of hours if I just look, you know what I mean? So, it wasn't hard for me. It was depressing at times, a little disappointing, actually, more than depressing. Because, like, it was fun. I was Kenaydah, you know what I mean? Like, I had a name for myself, you know, like, I had a decent image, you know, like, it was, you know, I could be something I actually was, but still was not. I don't know. It was.
Yeah. It's definitely.
I could be myself, but somebody else. You know what I mean? Because, like, Nelson said it best. The things that made us fucking losers in Campbell. He was like, we hung out with, like, skaters, and because Nelson, like, had fucking skate talent, so any of my friends were incidental because, like, I just kind of came with Nelson everywhere he went. So, you know, it's like, oh yeah, well, it's Craig, he comes with Nelson. If you're gonna be Nelson's friend, you gotta be Craig's friend. So that was how it fucking worked.
Right. So, I mean, I guess, yeah, for someone.
But yeah, the things that made us fucking assholes in Kempful made us, like, likable and sort of, you know, people, like, I don't know, it was a different. These people were not rednecks.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's kind of like living anywhere then. You know, if you have good people and good community around you, it's all right. But if you were on your own and kind of isolated, it would have been a lot harder on the street. Basically.
I spent a lot of time keeping to myself. Like, you know, you always drink with folks, you smoke with folks, but yeah, like, I still, you know, I stayed to myself. I always panned by myself. I always stood in my own spot to try and sling dime bags and shit.
What were some of the best panning strategies, and what are the worst?
The worst are trying to fucking ham it up. You know what I mean? Like, you know, oh, spare me. Like, you know, like, ham it up. Like, don't look fucking depressed. Like, I always found that maybe I didn't pull it off, but, like, I used to be like, my best panning strategies were just trying to be funny or straight up say, hey man, the beer store is almost closed. Do you have $2? Like, can I have $2? Like, it's almost closed. And I would just talk like that to people, you know, or you know, dirty joke for $1, guaranteed to offend or half your money back. Stuff like that worked all the time. And, you know, so I just tell them the same fucking 3 jokes. I busked for a long time when I first got there too. When on our way through, we stopped at my mom's, and she gave us all $20, and fucking she gave me a guitar.
Here you go, kids, have fun.
Yeah, well,
I'm just joking.
I figured we were going through Edmonton, so I'd call my mom and say, oh yeah, we're just on our way to Vancouver, just thought I'd say hi.
Right.
You know, I figured she'd, you know, meet us downtown or something, fucking take a picture and fucking, you know, keep going. But, you know, she's like, oh no, she was living in, like, Strathcona, part of Edmonton back then. And it was like a very suburban kind of neighborhood, so there were 3 of us, very rugged looking very rugged looking fucking individuals trying to find my mom's house, and we had a cop follow us.
Oh, what a surprise.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Kinda, you know, like, he'd park and then we'd walk, we're looking at houses, right? We're trying to find the number, and we'd be like, we'd look at the street and then fucking we'd keep walking. Yeah. And then, you know, we'd get out of sight, and then the cop would kind of pull up, and then he'd turn the corner, right? And, you know, we'd keep walking, and we'd see him parked, like, another block or so. He'd be parked looking this way up the road, and then we finally found my mom's house, and he parked, like, right across the street when we were fucking knocking on the fucking door.
Make sure you weren't going to go in there and murder them and rob them.
Yeah, he parked right across the street, and I don't know, Mom didn't wave or nothing happened. She just came in, Mom gave me a hug, and he just drove away.
That's funny.
Yeah. And yeah, so we stopped there. So my mom gave me a guitar, and she gave me this handmade Charles Dick was the name of the guitar making luthier.
Did you ever
fella.
get hassled by like bylaw for busking though?
Nope.
No?
No, it wasn't a thing then. I don't think.
They didn't make you get a permit or anything.
No, because
like
even
that?
when you didn't need a permit then. And because I remember I used to play, there was this store called the Rubber Rainbow. It was like this giant condom store, and that's all it was. It was a condom and sex fucking store. It was just called the Rubber Rainbow. And
that's a pretty good name.
I used to play outside of that like all the time because it was like a fucking cash spot. Or the Nanaimo Coffee Roasters was another good one. There were a few good spots. Harbor Park Mall was really good. The sidewalk in front of the fish fountain was really good because tourists, they take pictures of the big fish fountain and shit.
Right.
And I was never harassed or asked for anything. And then I'd lost my guitar to a bad PCP deal, and so I never really busked. I just kind of fell out of the loop. But then when my dad had come he went straight to Nanaimo, and they'd gotten this rooming house in Nanaimo. And when he got there, he wanted to busk. He had to get a busking permit, and then they had designated spots that were stenciled on the sidewalk. They were like,
oh my god, like you have to stand within this box kind of thing?
Well, it was like about the size of a newspaper stencil. It was like Nanaimo fucking blind. It had like these little jester fucking masks or whatever.
Really?
And it was spray painted in like red and blue. I think it was 2-color. They still are or whatever. But yeah, it was just spray painted on the sidewalk, and that was,
They must have had a surplus of buskers. It must have gotten out of hand.
I think it was just they realized they could get people to pay fucking
money.
$80 a year to do this and make them audition fucking. Because my dad said he had to audition.
Grab.
They took his picture and he had to hold this little fucking plaque that said 2000 whatever it fucking was, or 1990 whatever the fuck.
That's crazy. Okay, so here's something crazy and also very infamous that happened while you were living on the streets in Vancouver. Is the Robert Pickton murders were going on. They were probably like at their height, in fact, the time you were there. Like Robert Pickton apparently started killing people in the late 80s, and he got busted in 2002. So pretty much.
Like any good serial killer, nobody had any idea, man.
But you never heard about people didn't notice people going missing?
People go missing all the time.
Because it was all like street kids and hookers that he killed.
People go missing
basically
all the time, man. I went missing fucking all the time. People, they fuck off. People leave. People get off the street. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, yeah. But I mean, still, you'd think that at some point.
What you're gonna? My name was Kenaydah. How are you gonna find my parents? Find anybody that a guy called Kenaydah. He said he was from Ontario.
No, but I mean, say a group of hookers and they notice that every fucking time someone goes out to the pig farm,
I don't know how
they don't
tight you think I was
back.
with hookers, but I didn't get any good hooker gossip when I was homeless.
No?
I knew a bunch. I knew a lot of hookers. I stayed with a small harem, I guess you would say, for a bit. Because I was, I was
just
cute.
Just
a small harem. There were 3 of them, and there was a couple of friends that would come and go. But I would wash dishes, and they would feed me. So I'd be I'll fucking hang out for a bit. A month or 2.
So there was no
no hot gossip that I got.
There was no hot gossip. There was no no one had any thing to say about the fucking pig farm.
No.
Even though.
No, but when
he was coming literally to downtown and picking up people and taking them back to the pig farm to kill them.
Yeah.
That's pretty creepy.
Well, that's
almost creepier.
Man, I've gotten into fucking taxi. I remember the night we met. What was his name? Joe. Used to own the town pump. I shouldn't say his real name. Can you censor that?
Yes.
But yeah, he still used to own the town pump. I don't give a fuck about that. We were outside the Roxy. Me and my buddy Boogity he was our lawyer in this little scheme of Dr. Ellis and all of the Dr. Willoughby Freak Show or the You Suck production or whatever we called our little troupe. Boogity was our lawyer, and we were paying, and I think I don't remember if there was something in between fucking the Roxy and Melodies, because we were sitting in this like kind of blacked out doorway, and this fucking big lumbering bearded homosexual dude comes up and he's all fucking drunk, and you guys want to come fucking party with us? And I'm like, hey man, free beer. And he's like, he's gay. I'm like, well, I'm going, I'll fucking see you later. And I didn't give a fuck. And he's like, yeah, just get in one of these cars. And they weren't taxis, I don't think. They looked like taxi model type cars, but whatever. I kicked one of his friends out, so this dude told me to get in this car, so I'm getting in this car. If I could take it away, and I got in the car and shut the door by. I was a total dick about that because I didn't give a fuck. All I knew is there were a big group of people, more than just this one gay guy, so I could kind of trust the situation. So I'm going to drink with all of these folks that have money and drugs, and
right.
Fuck it, I'm out of here.
Right.
We ended up going to the town pump. Turns out this dude owns the fucking town pump. And we're upstairs for the first little bit, and I'm actually just walking behind the bar, grabbing glasses and mixing my own drinks. I'm just like, hey, you want to pour me a shot? I'm like, yeah.
Sure.
So, like, it was kind of neat. Like, I poured a few shots for people, and behind the fucking bar, we're all having a fucking laugh about it. You know, then the fucking rails come out, and Buddy's like, no, not up here, you know, because there's cameras and shit, eh?
Right.
So we scoop it all up, and we go downstairs. And there's just, like, you know, those magnetic locker mirror style fucking mirrors, like a couple of them just going around the table, and we're all just fucking talking about bullshit. And I'm talking to this guy next to me, and he's talking about my bike, because I had a blue Cannondale M300 hybrid kind of mountain bike, and I rode that forever. And he's like, you know, you're homeless and you got a canny? I'm like, I gave him my bullshit story about it. And he's like, yeah, I don't care fucking where you got your bike. And we're like just shooting his shit, and fucking rail goes up his face, you know, we're fucking going around, and somebody said something about a fucking dupe. And I'm like, I don't have any papers. And Buddy stands up, and he whips open his wallet, and the first thing I see is a fucking Vancouver police badge. And he's like, what the fuck are you looking at? I'm like, nothing, dude, because he pulled out a pack of Zigzag Blues. It was the second most offensive thing I'd seen in that 45 seconds. I was like, fucking Zigzag Blues? Like, are you fucking bullshitting me? That's what he said.
Horse blankets.
I couldn't take my eyes off the badge. And he's like, what the fuck are you looking at? I'm like, nothing, man. I'm just rolling a joint. And he just sits down and he's like, you know what, man? Like, you've got way more on me than you're just a bum. Like, I just did cocaine beside you. And he was just coked right out of his mind. And I'm like, you're right. You know,
yeah, just agree.
Roll just a fucking doob. And because I never got over that for the rest of the night, you know what I mean? So, like, the conversation with that was just kind of
got weird.
Got weird. And yeah, but we were all hanging out at this fucking table, and then the dude, he started rubbing my leg and shit. I'm like, no, man, I'm good with that, because he already had some dude.
Wait, the cop or the big
the big guy that told me to get in the car? So yeah, I'm like, no, man, I'm cool with that. Like, he's like, oh, that's fine, you know, but if you're leaving, you're gonna have to go down. So he gave me $50 to get in a cab and fuck off. And I walked over to one of the dudes we were doing rails with, and I bought a gram off of him. I'm like, fuck it, I'm walking downtown. You want to sell me some of your narf, dude? And he gave me a gram for that $50, which was fucking cool.
Right.
I thought that was awesome. You just, here, just take this.
How far was it back downtown?
It was the just gas town. So like
it's not far.
6 blocks. Yeah, you give me $50 to take a cab. Like, you must be high, dude. I'm like, fuck. But yeah, that was just a cool fucking night, man. I just hopped in some stranger's fucking car. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm still sober. Like, I could totally kick this guy's ass if I had to. I'm a creature of opportunity. Like, I'm a bum. Like, I'm homeless. You fucking right. I want to go party free. Like, bears shit in the fucking woods.
So, all right, that's pretty fucked up. But What's like the craziest, weirdest, most outlandish thing that you saw happen? Because, I mean, you see random shit happen just going downtown for a day. Like,
that I want to talk about.
Being there 24/7
would be the bag of money behind Seymour Billiards. I wasn't a witness to the first bit. The first bit goes that there was a paper bag in the parking lot of Seymour Billiards that our friend Tolly tried to pick up with his hands, and some fucking Korean dude came and chased him away from the bag of money, picked it up, from the paper bag, right, and picked it up and got in his car and sat in his car for like 10-15 minutes, right, and then got out and put it behind his car.
Yeah.
And then got back into his car, at which point Tolly's just like grabs the bag and fucking books it.
Oh no.
Ram. Gone.
Oh.
Opens up the bag, finds Canadian and American money adding up to around $3,500 cash,
yeah, and
pictures of some Korean dude.
Oh fuck.
So Tolly just sticks money in all of our fucking hands and disappears. That's when he fucked off up. I'm not gonna say where, but he fucked off up the mountains. He bought himself like a glass blowing fucking rig with that money, and he set up and he was making like he actually. It's just a fun story now that you know what I mean. But
some poor Asian guy like probably didn't get his black market citizenship or something.
No. Probably that was one of the things that had come up, and he's like, no, those are like passport type photos. Like he was probably buying buying ID for somebody, you know.
No. Oh fuck.
Yeah, but it's like, well, fuck, dude. Just keep.
Yeah, you see some sketchy shit.
Do the meetup in person next time, you dumb fuck. Like, just don't put a bag. Like, this is Granville Street. You're in between Granville and Seymour Billiards, two of the most crooked fucking places in that entire fucking square block. You don't want to. You don't want to put anything down in that area because some street kid is going to pick it up and walk the fuck away with it. But it was just apparently just sitting in the middle of the parking lot the first time. Like it was parking spaces away from where this guy came chasing him. And then, so he fucked off, but then he was watching. He wanted to know what the fuck that was all about. Then he saw the guy get out of his car, and he said he just put it down behind his car. And as soon as his door closed, I just fucking ran for it. And it was full of money and pictures of some fucking Asian dude.
Holy shit.
So yeah, he took that money and fucked off up the mountains and
changed his life.
It did. It really did. We haven't seen a lot of him since then. Like we know he's around. Like we know where his fucking family lives. We talk to people who talk to him.
Yeah, like you know. He's alive and well.
Oh yeah, he's doing good. Yeah. He married some chick named Jim. That's what we knew her as. What's her name? Oh, she's Jim. That's what she called her. She said, oh, my name's Jim. Oh, okay.
Cool.
You're Jim now.
Cool. So how long did you live on the streets in Vancouver then?
I don't know.
When did you leave?
More than 5, less than 10.
Right. So that's a long time. That's like a good amount of time to
and
really
it wasn't all
know,
just Granville. Like I bounced around a lot. Like I wasn't like an interior kind of traveler. I didn't like how hot the Okanagan and shit was. I didn't like how snowy the mountains and shit were. I did like going through the mountains. I'd been to Tofino a few times, but it was really hard for me to deal with Tofino just because even then it was a fucking dreadier than thou community. Like you had to be all fucking organic and fucking vegan and have a hemp sleeping bag and wear Birkenstocks and shit. Like you know, it was damn close to having a dress code for how homeless you needed to look. You know what I mean? Like
as homeless friendly as it is, it's also super isolated and like hard to get in and out of.
Most of the kids live up the beach, like up Sunshine Coast. Like there's entire communities. Like you know, like there's small like little campsites basically, but there's, you know, groups of people that do that. There were stories of families that had been living out there since like the 60s and 70s, just
No way.
up the Sunshine Coast. With the Coast Guard back in the 80s, we'd heard stories. Something I always been meaning to Google. Some of the urban legend that we'd gotten on Granville was there was a group that lived up Sunshine Coast up north of Tofino. They had cabins and shit, and the Coast Guard brought in a bunch of heavy lifting helicopters and like picked them up and dropped them in the fucking water to kick these people out. They're like, yeah, you can't. But apparently these people had been living there like since the turn of the flower child itself, you know what I mean? And
Right.
so like it was a story that had been told with like a lot of anger. Fucking, it's what kept people homeless. Fuck you! I'm gonna fucking sleep in this sidewalk, and you can't do anything about it. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, like it was for the crowd I hung with, it was more of a choice. Like some of us, it wasn't a choice. I shouldn't say that, but we accepted what we were. We accepted what we did to live and shit. And there was, you know, there's other crowds of like, you know, like just destitute junkies that don't know anything else, that may have gotten to the streets in some horrible twist of fucking family life or some shit, you know. And there's no reasoning or there's no dealing with these sorts of people. They like, you know, they're not gonna straighten up. They're not gonna change their life because you're not gonna change their life because you're fucking homeless too. Right. So just being around that crowd, being friends with that crowd, they're just gonna suck you into it. You're not gonna suck them out.
Right.
They're gonna suck you in to that shit. So you just you smile and nod and you keep on fucking walking, right?
So what is it then? Like, because you're here with an internet connection and somewhere, you know, presumably with a roof to use it. Like, what is it that lets get some people off the street where some people never make it?
I broke my hand. I punched a fucking newspaper deposit box as hard as I could on a lot of really, really, really good jib. And that story goes, me and my partner at the time, Brain Dead, we were selling dime bags and shit for this dude called Fatty, and Fatty also got us our jib off the 800 block as per the arrangement. And so me and Dead, we used to work together a lot and sell what we could. And he was with this one hooker, Tool. That was her name, Tool. And because she wasn't a toy, she was a tool. A toy is something you use until it's boring and you throw away. A tool is something you fucking keep for life. So that was Brain Dead and Tool, man. Like these, Sid and Nancy had nothing on Dead and Tool, man. Like these people were fucking tight, man. Like I love these people. A lot of people didn't like Brain Dead. A lot of people thought Dead was kind of sketchy and would stab you in your back and stuff like that. And he never did with me. He had a couple of fucking methy moments with me, but it was like, okay, no, dude, that's the meth. I'm gonna fuck off, and I'll talk to you in a couple of days when you're wondering how you're not making as much money as you used to. See you the fuck later.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Knew when to check out.
Yeah. And so yeah, fucking our first day, fucking Tool jinxed us, man. Because we stayed at her place. She had this like really nice fucking flat. Like she was like one of these like little harem girls, right? Like she had a bunch of other hookers that used to live with her too. But me and Deb would go stay there. Like the odd nights we wanted a shower. If she had fucking food, we'd eat most of that and fuck off. And yeah, the people don't want to believe it, but I didn't sleep with the hookers as often as you would fucking think because they're hookers and a lot of them don't look good. And you just kind of stay out of the kitchen.
That was polite of you.
You just kind of stay out of the kitchen and the fucking bathroom as much as you can. The living room apparently is just the safe space and that kind of a thing. I don't know if it's a universal kind of thing, but I was always just kind of left to my own. If I was in the living rooms watching TV, okay, you go be hookers in the kitchen. Cool, that's what you're doing, right? You know, like, they were cool people too, man. Like they never Like, it's funny. Like, I joke about it, but they're all great people. Like, obviously, like they're letting.
They took you in, so they must have been.
Yeah, and Dad was fucking crazy. He had like a swastika tattoo on his forehead, and he was like toothless. And, oh yeah, man.
Like the fucking Charles Manson.
He was a straight up fucking neo-Nazi when I met him, and I got my anti-Swazi, and I was like, and this is like way before fucking Antifa even sucked its first dick. I had my fucking anti-swastika tattoo. I was very fucking angry and anti-racist in the late 80s through the early 90s, and I didn't, but this fucking brain dead dude was awesome. I don't know what it was about him. He had a bike, and we rode mountain bikes, and we played chase through the fucking city, and like basically try to kill the guy chasing you. You know what I mean? And Dad was fucking awesome. He could always get good jib, and we both liked to smoke meth. So it was a match made in Granville.
Right.
And so yeah, and Tool jinxed him. She's like, "Hey, be careful. There's a lot of cops out." And Dad said it, and I didn't believe it. He's like, "Fuck you, dumb bitch. You jinxed us." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Fuck, man. One of us are going down, dude." I'm like, "Bullshit. Like, don't talk like that. We're just gonna fucking go out. We're gonna sell our dope, smoke some shit. Come on back here. You're gonna get a blowjob. I'm gonna watch some TV. It's gonna be good. Just shut up." And soon as the fucking street lights come on, man, fucking brain dead's in fucking handcuffs. And like literally, soon as it was fucking dark enough to really start fucking, you know, leaning your bike up against the post and acting like a
fucking prophecy.
Day 2 it happened to me. She's like, "Okay, we don't want to repeat it," and she stopped herself. Soon as Dad was like, "Give her the face," eh? He's like, because it's weird. It's weird superstition for some people, I guess, but it worked. I got fucking popped, man. A cop fucking seen me grabbing a lighter out of my fucking coat, dropped my bag of fucking dope right on the fucking sidewalk. There I am in fucking handcuffs. Fucking Dad's fucking walking my bike up the fucking sidewalk like it's his. He's like, "What the fuck, man?" He's like, "Can I just take my bike and go then?" He's like, "Yeah, get the fuck out of here." Because, you know.
Yeah. Please get your bike out of there.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so you got busted.
Day 3, the actual third day.
Yeah.
Without a hitch. We didn't stay at Tools. None of the words were spoken. They're going up to Dad's place. He had a hotel on Granville. It was, I don't remember the name of it. It was like farther down, like oh fuck, I don't know, like maybe like the 6 or the 500. He lived up above like one of these sex shops, or like one of like the AM PM or some shit. But anyways, they're going up there. I'm like, "Okay, I'll see you fucking guys in a few hours. We're gonna meet Fatty, give him some money, fucking get some fucking jib, and we're gonna call it a fucking night." Somebody asks me if I got any fucking weed on me. I'm like, "Yes, I saved 2 dime bags." So I wanted to smoke them, but I could use a pack of smokes. So stick my hand in my pocket, feel my fucking leg. I'm like, "Oh my god, I lost my last 2 dime bags. I just gave Dad all of my money."
Yeah.
Oh no. And I was still methed up enough that I just lost it. I fucking threw my bike into Granville Street like just tossed it, and I turned around and I saw this fucking gray paper box, and I just overhanded it. I punched it as hard as I fucking could, and I felt it hit, and I felt it twist, and I felt it break, and I was just, for fuck's sakes, and that just pissed me off even more. And that's what my hand does, and I peeled my glove off, and that lump was like sticking right up. Ew. And some dude walking by is like, "Oh, that's gonna hurt in the morning." I'm like, "Fuck, it hurts now," and I fucking pushed it right back into place. Because, like, that's all I thought of. I'm like, I gotta put this back because I can't go to the hospital and fix it. So the sooner this looks like a hand, the sooner it will feel like or the sooner it will heal. And
like a hand?
So I fucking squished her back into fucking place, and I fucking rode it out, man. Dad fucking gave me, "She's, you're fucking stupid. You gotta go to the hospital." I didn't go to the hospital. So I figured I'll go to Ladysmith for a fucking couple of days, and my hand will heal. You know, and they brought me straight back to fucking Vancouver, where I can walk in like a homeless person and get my hand fixed for free.
Right.
They're like, no, you're going to go get your fucking hand fixed. They dropped me off at the ferry terminal and just drove away. I'm like, fuck, I'm not hitchhiking to Ladysmith from Nanaimo again. I just did that yesterday. So I guess they gave me money. So I went back over and they put me under. And because I told them they had to, if somebody's going out for this, it's either me or one of your fucking doctors, was my exact words. Because if I look over and I see somebody cutting into my hand, I'm going to hit them. I'm going to hit them.
Right.
I don't need to explain why I'm going to hit them hard. And if you try to stop me, I'm going to hit you too. And so they switched it up right away, and because they told me they were going to give me a local, have me out of there in a couple hours. I'm like, well, I didn't need anything. Like you told me during Kenaydah, this was going to be a knockout surgery. You got me in a little stupid fucking dress and everything. What the fuck?
Right.
And so they switched it up. They gave me the rubber mask, told me to count backwards from 10. I don't remember saying 6.
Yeah.
And then I fucking woke up with this weird cage thing on my, and I fucking started panicking because all I could think about were those screw-in halos that they put on car crash people with the broken necks and stuff, and they're screwed into their skull and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? And they come in and oh, you're awake. No, hold still, we'll get that off you. And I was like, yeah. And I fucking.
So it was not in fact screwed into your bones.
Thumb screws, and it popped right off. It got hooked on the K-wires, which actually freaked me out because I could see those were going into my hand. I was like, what the fuck is going on there? And I couldn't look at it, but I had to try and figure out what it was. I was like, oh my god. and that was my punching hand too, you know what I mean? So I'm like, this is fuck, this is the end of my being homeless. And that's what did it.
That was the end of your being homeless.
That was the end of my being fucking homeless, man. People grew balls when I couldn't punch them in the mouth, and made staying on Granville not viable, really. And I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want the drama. I didn't want to lose all my fucking friends over it, because there's just some shit I won't talk about here. But I just said, fuck it, man. I had the cast on and stuff, and I remember Fatty fucking tried to make me pay twice for a bag of mushrooms, because me and my buddy Mark at the time, because this is one of Ded's little methy things. He thought fucking I was all pissed off because he went out with Tool, or I'm like, you're fucking methed up, bud. It had nothing to do with you. I lost weed, and I was on my own meth, so I got mad at my own things. That can happen, Ded.
Right.
Fuck. It was just a day 3. The story, that was just, are you fucking kidding me?
These things come in 3s.
I just gave him all my money. I didn't even save a pack of smokes. I have no dope. Fuck. And I lost my mind. Yeah. So, so that was...
that was the end of it.
Yeah, I didn't know it at the time.
So it was kind of like fate. So Tool actually did you a huge favor in the long run, maybe.
Well, I guess, but... Yeah, that was the thing, man. Because I went back to Ladysmith, and I wrote out the fucking... I had pins. I still got a couple of screws, but I had these K-wires stuck through my hand to keep the bone straight, and I had them taken out at the Ladysmith hospital. And they just took them out with vice grips. That was fucked.
That's intense.
Yeah, well, that's a pair of stainless steel clamping pliers. I'm pretty sure they said vice grips.
I've never had reconstructive surgery of any kind, so it's all unfamiliar to
me. He started telling me, so you're from Ontario, eh? And I'm like, yeah. And he pulls it out as soon as I start talking, right? I'm like, oh, god damn it. And it didn't hurt, because he gave me a bunch of fucking freezings and stuff, and he x-rayed it again. He was like, we're going to x-ray you fucking when we get it out. We're going to x-ray it now. They took a picture of it, and then they fucking doped me all up in the hand, and they pulled the fucking pins out, and then they took a picture of it again, and they're like, okay, it looks pretty much the same. It settled because of the wires.
Right, yeah.
And they sent me on my way, And but I was, because like I was smoking a cigarette the next morning or the day after, because like I was kind of dope sick, because I was coming off a lot of other drugs, not just the meth. Like I was putting anything, like my drug of choice was jib. Like I fucking, because it was cheaper than blow, and we could get balls dirt cheap. Sell a gram, do 2, buy another 8 ball. Sell a gram, do 2, buy another 8 ball. And just repeat that as many times as you could, and as long as you could stay awake. And but I did. PCP was fucking lovely. I loved that shit. I did heroin a couple of times, a few months with some people, and I stopped hanging out with them, so I stopped doing it. It's like I said, you're not gonna get that. Not that I tried, but I was getting fucking pulled into that, and I didn't like that, so I just started hanging out with the drunks again. And I was having a smoke, and I realized that I hadn't fucking smoked any jib in like fucking almost a month, and I'm not going to. I'm like, fuck it, I'm done with that stuff, because like I weighed like 125, 130 pounds, and I was like, because like you wear like 2 or 3 hoodies, you wear track pants over fucking track pants, you know, like you don't know how big any of these people are. You don't even know how big you are. Right. Like if it wasn't for the fact that I tried to do laundry and shower at least fucking once every couple of weeks at the Alliance Club or the Gathering Place, whether I was in Victoria or Vancouver, I would try and get in for a shower. And I just, like, fuck, man, like, I am fucking bony, dude. And I just noticed it one day, and I weighed not a whole lot. And that was like, fuck. That's when like, fuck. Yeah. And that's when I decided to fuck back off to Ladysmith and ride out. Because, like, I was supposed to go into the Vancouver in a couple of weeks to have it fucking pulled. So I'm like, yeah, I can fucking keep my fucking hand out of trouble and fucking still squat. I could still get in and out of most of the squats. So, but then I was like, no, fuck it. I'm fucking out of here. Because people were just being dicks to me because I couldn't punch them in the mouth. And, yeah, it was fucking bullshit. A lot of bullshit there fucking happened. A lot of shit fucking... You find out how many of them really are your friends. And it turns out that the ones you make the most money with aren't your fucking friends. And, so I bounced, man. Fatty tried to make me pay twice for a bag of fucking mushrooms. Because me and my buddy Mark were at the fucking the Symphony of Fire. It used to be a big Benson and Hedges fucking fireworks display. And I grabbed an ounce of mushrooms off Fatty because I knew I could fucking sell them, you know, fucking probably eat fucking a good chunk of the bag, get myself some beer, and go watch the fucking fireworks. But, like, I was with Mark, and, like, the first people we ran into were these, like, American kind of college-looking couple. They're like, you know, we can get any magic mushrooms. And they didn't say it in a way that made us think they were cops. It was just kind of funny that they said magic mushrooms. And I'm like, yeah, man, I got some on you.
You were enthusiastic, obviously.
I got some. He's like, how many you want? He's like, oh, we want like a fucking quad. Do you like a quad 7? Do you? I'm like, yeah. They pulled out American money, and Buddy gives me an American fucking 100. He goes, like, is this good? And I'm like, yeah, that's good, man. Hold out your hand. And I gave him like a fucking thick, like a 10-gram handful. Here you go, man. Like, you just bought my beer, this bag. Like, fucking, you have yourself a good night, man. Is that good? And he's like, oh, yes, thank you very much. And they just took off.
Yeah.
And I had an American $100 bill and, like, more than a half ounce of fucking mushrooms left.
Yeah, and so at the time in Canadian, that would have been like easy $160.
That was a lot of money. I'm like, fuck, man. And so I got it fucking switched up. I gave Mark a bunch of money, and we split that bag in half, stuck it in our face, and we headed down to Second Beach, I think it was, Second or Jericho. I don't remember. One of the beaches down on the waterfront, past Davie, going towards the bridge. We get down we get down there, and we're starting to get really high at this point. And we're like, fuck, man, we better find a spot now. And Mark's like, oh, look, there's a towel. And he grabs somebody's towel and just starts walking. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I should do that too. And I'm too high to think about it. So I reach down, I grab somebody's towel. I hear they go, hey. And then I see Mark just fucking book it. I'm like, fucking chase him. And I got this fucking towel. And then nobody chased us, thankfully, because I didn't leave their towel. I kept their towel. And I kept running. We get down to like this crazy spot, this bunch of fucking people. We figure fucking nobody will bother us here. We fucking get ourselves, like a not gay distance apart, and just so like, we'll know where we are when this is all over. It's like, okay, dude, you want to go back uptown? You good to walk? Okay, let's beat it. And we just kicked it on the fucking beach, and we just watched fireworks, like just blasted on fucking mushrooms. And then we went back, and I told Fatty that. So I'm like, yeah, these fucking American kids fucking, they bought like fucking, I give them like 10 grams, fucking here's, it was like $75 for the ounce. Fatty could get cheap dope. And it's mushrooms. It's fucking beast. So it's like $75 for the ounce. I gave him that. I give Mark like fucking $35-$40. And I had money, but I spent that on fucking beer and shit. And I bought more dope that we were fucking smoking. But I told him, he was like, so where's the rest of the money? I'm like, it's my money, I need more dope. He's like, no. He's like, fuck. And he tried to fucking heavy me like that was, I should have give him a fucking cut of that. I'm like, the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
And there were words, and I'm like, you know what? Okay, fine. It ended with, give me another fucking bag, and I'll fucking get you your money if it'll shut you up. Because like, I don't want to fucking do this. Like, I got my own fucking issues right now. And I think I grabbed like another ounce of mushrooms off of him, and I just got on the ferry and went back to Ladysmith. Never saw that fat fuck again. So, fucking see you later, dude. And I was in Ladysmith until I got the pins pulled. That's as linear as I can put that whole
sequence of time.
All of those things happened in that I need to get off the street. It started with losing 2 dime bags, ended with some leb trying to hustle me for an ounce of mushrooms. A Lebanese fella sitting in a Honda Civic,
Yeah, series of unpleasant events.
Yeah. Fatty,
right.
I don't know what it is. It was like, I think it was just like a shortened version of his like Fatimus or some, because like
Fatimus.
I don't know, because I was like,
is that a proper Lebanese
I don't
name?
fucking know. Somebody said it was, they call him Fatty because that's his name, like Fatima or some weird fuck. I used to kind of rib him about it, but he never told me his real name was Fatty. Okay. It's fucking Fatty.
So then
No, he didn't have. He had a little Acura, a little green Acura.
Acura.
Not a Honda. I'm just remembering now. Yeah. So it was a little longer, kind of flat.
Low to the ground.
Yeah, they were all low with stretched fucking tires. That's when I think that whole stretched fad was becoming a fad, because some of them just didn't look road safe. Some of it looked like they were stretching like motorbike tires, because there was just really awkward lip that you knew was like the inner bead of the tire, and it's like, it's not supposed to do that.
Doesn't look safe at all.
Doesn't look safe at all. Like, they don't even look like tires anymore.
So what would you say to a 15-year-old street kid today? What would your advice be?
Fuck.
What would be like the one thing you would say, like, don't ever do this?
Oh, fuck, I don't know. Don't ever do a lot of it. Like, there's a lot of things you should never do if you want. Like, well, not
obviously
even.
You would tell them, like, probably don't do this at all. But say hypothetical situation, they're there already. What's the one piece of advice? Don't ever do this.
Don't just do anything for a Klondike bar. When somebody says, what would you do for this? Keep your cock and balls where they are.
That's good advice.
It's a slippery slope. I've seen some fucking people take some nasty fucking turns down that. But it's just saliva. No, now you're a gay porn star. Sorry, bud.
Yeah, now you've got hep.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad things that can happen down that road.
Well, yeah, because it's not a very controlled environment. I know I'm going to get a lot of fucking backlash on this. But, like, this is the 90s, people. Like, Boys Town was a fucking very awkward fucking place to even be known that it was Boys Town in Vancouver. Like, when people say, "Oh, you mean over in Boys Town?" What? Like, so
Yeah,
don't
the
fucking
name itself.
don't give me the fucking gay community has fucking standards, because I was there and they were low. The standards were very, very low. There were the uppity fags, I guess. Like, they went to Numbers and stuff like that with the tight shirts and
like
the
the high rollers.
rimmed glasses and all of that kind of very fucking
The
Andy Dick looking fucking crowd, right?
Okay.
And then there was fucking Boys Town, man. Like,
That sounds rough.
yeah, it wasn't as rough as it was Boys Town. Like,
Well, not rough in like a biker sense, like rough in like a moral sense, I guess.
yeah, and that's
Because the name Boys Town should maybe set off some alarms.
Like, didn't,
You
and
could,
it's
like Mantown, Gay Village, the Gay District. There's
that
all
was
kinds
farther
of...
up, Davey. That was closer to like Stanley Park and the aquarium, like way up.
Oh, so it wasn't even part of like the Davy
I don't even think it was
like,
on
Gay.
Davy. I
part
think
of
it
that?
butted up to Davy, but I think it was like a block to the left or the right down the hill towards
really?
like Molson Indie Trackish area. Like, it was not in the bright lit up painted crosswalk section of the city. It was Boys Town.
Oh dear.
It's like warehouses and garage doors everywhere.
So if that's still a thing, don't let it be your thing.
Don't let it be your thing.
I was going to ask you about if you ever found dead bodies. but-
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. Two.
Two?
I didn't find one.
Like together or separately?
Separate. I didn't find one. One I just didn't believe existed, which very much ended up, because we thought it was just a thing. It was an urban legend, like, you know, the Stand By Me railroad track fucking kid, you know? I was like, no, there's no fucking dead guy in the fucking squat, you know? Like, that's just bullshit. Like, there's no dead guy in the basement. You'd smell him, you know? Like, all these
And
fucking...
it turned out there actually was a dead guy in the
Yeah,
basement?
somebody had tried to set him on fire.
Oh my god.
He was not in good shape, and that... I never went back to the Jervis squat.
Yeah, I was
after
gonna
that.
say.
Because it was a busy squat. Like 6-7 kids fucking stayed there. You know, like, that's busy for an abandoned fucking house, like a fourplex kind of house.
How long had he been there, you think?
I don't know. I'm not a fucking forensics fucking expert, man. He was just kind of twisted with the leg but he was burnt. Like, his clothes and the mattress had been burnt, and there was dried up mummy burnt foot, and we just pieced the fuck out of there because, like, it was just an instant feeling of the cops are gonna grab me and it's my fault. It was just like
why are you here with this?
There
dead
was an
body?
immediate feeling of fucking exit to the fucking left. And that's what we fucking did. I don't remember who I was with.
What was the second one?
This dude in a cardboard-only dumpster behind Granville, farther down the 600 block behind, behind like where the Glen Aird would have been. Because I wasn't staying in a hotel at the time, and it was gonna rain. And it's a pretty cool thing to do on the weekends and shit when you know they're not picking up the bins. If it's gonna rain, find yourself a cardboard-only dumpster that you can fucking, you know, kind of bend up the plastic lid to, squeeze yourself in.
Right.
You got a roof, you got some dry fucking cardboard, you can fucking hang out there for a couple hours, smoke your dope, just try not to burn yourself alive
in the
cardboard-only dumpster.
Yeah.
But I found one that was unlocked, man, and I opened it up, and there was somebody in it, and I was like, oh shit, sorry. And as I was saying, oh shit, sorry, I noticed he wasn't really looking at anything, because he was a very bad color with, like, crusties on his chin and shit, and he kind of looked like he died saying something, but he was just, and I just dropped the lid and I went back out onto Granville Street. I sat down in front of the Midnight Star Arcade because like there's all these noises.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, good. And I whipped out my fucking pipe and I started smoking my jib. I'm like, holy fuck. Holy fuck. And somebody asked me, like, hey man, can I have some of your jib? And I'm like, fuck off. And they're like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And I told them there's a dead dude in the dumpster in the alley. And I was just said it like that. And they're like, what? There's a dead dude in the dumpster in this alley. And they're like, fuck off. I'm like, go look, man. Fuck. Leave me the fuck alone.
So it was your turn to be
And I put the fucking pipe back in my
guy.
mouth. And I kept smoking the jib. And they looked at me. They're like, no, seriously, give me some of that. I'm like, seriously, there's a dead guy. And I just kept saying that. There's a dead guy in the dumpster.
Did he ever go look?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. And then somebody fucking came out and was like, holy fuck, because he showed a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And then the fucking cops and the ambulance fucking show up.
Yeah.
And I'm still just sitting there. And they said, no, he found him. And I just fucking, yeah. The dead dude, that was me. Found him. It's yours now. And I'm just sitting there, and the cops didn't give a fuck. Like, they didn't ask me if I knew
Well,
him.
he probably OD'd in the fucking dumpster.
Yeah. They didn't ask me fuck all. I was just like, yeah.
Oh, man. That's sad.
Yeah, man, that
What a
was
way to
fucked
go.
up. Oh, Boogity, man. Boogity saw a fucking... Boogity has seen two people commit suicide by jumping on separate fucking occasions.
Oh my god. From
He
the
saw
Lionsgate?
one from a hotel on Davie, up a
building
ways,
jumpers? Oh no.
and then another one from the old Hotel California that's not the Hotel California anymore. It used to have this metal awning, and I guess a tranny jumped and hit the awning and come apart. And Boogity watched that, like, from the balcony to the hit to the fucking sidewalk. And that was the first one. He said it was just fucked. Like, he went back fucking Victoria and hung out there. And he said he'd come back, and it wasn't, like, even a 6-month period he'd been here. And then the one on Davie, it was just this overweight dude. And jumped, and he fucking hit and ripped open or something.
I thought you meant bridge jumpers. It'd almost be better to see a bridge jumper, I guess, because then you just see them go in the water.
Hit a car or hit the sidewalk. Mike just said he saw fucking gore when he turned the corner because people were like, oh my fucking god, and he turns and he's like, oh my fucking god, and he just...
Oh, man.
So he didn't see the second
That would be enough
leap,
to,
I
like,
would suppose.
make me
I
want
was
to stop
misleading
coming
in
to the
that.
city.
I don't know, man.
Twice in 6 months, I might just go home.
The Jervis squat dead guy was enough to make me stop squatting for a while, and I started staying at the art gallery up behind the steps. And the dumpster guy...
Sleeping outside.
Yeah, the dumpster dude didn't really faze me. I stopped doing hard drugs in dumpsters, though. Like,
Yeah.
for real. Like,
Yeah. Well, I guess. I mean, no one's going to find you, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you need help, you're fucked.
Yeah, I stopped getting meth to the point where I had the jib sweats because, my heart might have exploded.
Chances are better if you're out in the open somewhere.
If anything, it made me a lot more liberal with my dope when there were people around. It's like, yes, you better do some of this too.
Let me share with you.
Yes, I shouldn't do all of this. Come here. We're going to share my meth. Come here.
So, speaking of junkies, though, and meth and dead people, and I guess Vancouver more generally, we should probably talk a bit about the Balmoral, because that's a little piece of Vancouver fucking slum history.
I'd been up there a few times by Jib.
And they're tearing it down. Like, it was finally condemned a year or two ago, I think.
Yeah, but I didn't hang out in the Balmoral for obvious reasons.
Right, because you were not an absolute
but I'd been up there,
heroin junkie.
and it again was like something out of an old 70s kind of fucking police fucking movie where you go up, there's people in the hallways, fucking shower caps, like straight up, fucking shower caps, because there was the one floor had this like, so with the Glenaird had this communal shower at the end of the hallway too. But there was this one room, and it looked like a bullpen fucking prison shower with like a half bar door, and it was fucked up because the dude, he lived in the middle of that hallway, and luckily it was at the end of the hallway, so I only had to walk fucking 3 or 4 doors to get to this door, and you had to kick it because he was either high or deaf as fuck all the time, and he'd have people there, and if you didn't kick the fucking door, be like, oh, you always hear fucking banging in this place, and so and I'd get out of there, I'd be like, okay, just give me my shit, I want to go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing, like, it blows my mind that it was even allowed to exist as it did.
A lot of the
for
fucking
so long.
hotels, man, were just check factories, because Vancouver and all of its little sub-cities, they weren't linked in things like the welfare system. So there were a lot of people that would draw multiple checks from different district offices while living on essentially the 800 block of Granville, and it was a very profitable racket.
Yeah.
For some people, like, you know.
For some slumlords and welfare frauds.
Oh yeah, they'd you know, they'd buy your check off you, you know, like $100. They'd keep $100, $200, you know, and it's a $750 or a $900 check depending on what office it is. North Van, their Christmas like sort of bonus and all their little things come up to $1,300. For the December, January. So, in hindsight,
or with hindsight, do you have like more sympathy for homeless people?
I don't know, man. Like for the people that were doing that, like, because like holy fuck, like what? You're getting like 3 fucking checks. Like I had to stand in the fucking office for 4 hours to get this check. Like, and they gave me one last month. I had to come fight with them to get one fucking check. And you're just walking into 4 offices in the city? Like, no, I don't have sympathy for those people, man. I don't have sympathy for a lot of the homeless people, and I'll tell you why. Not that I'm an excellent judge of fucking what makes a person, but coming from my own experiences, there's a right way and a wrong way to conduct yourself if you're going to be homeless, and
right.
The ones that are conducting themselves properly, I don't have to feel sorry for them. They're having a fucking great time. They're in control of what they're doing. They're doing it because that's what they like, that's what they know, that's where they feel safe. They have a community, they have friends, and that's what's working for them. You know, it might not be the best thing for them, but they're not going to fucking listen to me either, so fuck them. Like, I don't have to feel sorry for these people.
Right.
You know? And then there's, like, the junkie umbrella paintbrush I'm going to use. You can only lose so many fucking friends before you just stop caring. The first... Punk Adam, because we were friends. He was like, oh, your real name's Adam, my real name's Adam. You know, and when he died, I was like, that really fucking sucks, man, because like I didn't have a lot of friends that have died on me. Like I'm fucking hit town, you know, and people are like, dude, it fucking happens all the time. I'm like, no, like of course people die all the time, and I didn't realize that. No, they meant. This is going to happen a lot more often than you're going to want it to. Like the people you meet every day are going to start dying. I'm going to meet people 4 days ago that are dead today. Like, you know, right onto the streets. Boom, there's a bad fucking fit. And you know, you don't know them, but you know, I was like, oh, I remember seeing them. Oh, dead. Okay. And you stop giving a fuck, man. Like, oh, what happened? OD? Yeah. Well, not like you didn't see it coming. Like, these drugs fucking kill people. It's been happening. It's like, you remember a couple months ago? Remember that dude? No, I barely remember his name either, because it happens so fucking much.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and you want to feel bad that you can't remember the names, but you're like, fuck it. You know, if they were alive today, they probably couldn't remember my fucking name, you know? Like, so no, I don't feel sympathy for them. I feel sympathy for the people who are trying to get off the fucking street, who are like, you know, that can't do it because of maybe like their drug addiction or fear of the unknown, of the normal life, you know what I mean? And that's a real fucking thing.
Yeah.
Coming back to civilization was culture shock to me. Like, I didn't know how to function in the fucking real world anymore. The people I had been dealing with for the last fucking decade were career criminals and fucking homeless folks. You know what I mean? Like, my sense of humor is not funny to people who work 9-to-5 jobs. My sense of humor is, for the most part, offensive and probably illegal, the things we would joke about.
Right.
You know, so I couldn't fucking relate to people. People's like, oh, so what'd you do when you were in Vancouver? I just kind of hung out, smoked dope, is all I can really say. You know, so you were a bum. Yeah, I was a bum. You know, like,
yeah.
I was a Granville Street kid. I hung out. We bummed money and we bought beer. And we fucking, you know, you tried to outlive the guy to your left. You know, like, that was the game. It's like, you know, bet I can live longer than you. But yeah, man, I do feel genuinely bad for a lot of the fucking people that are trying, like, that have landed there through actual fucking circumstances, and they don't want to be there. Not like, because I've run into those folks, and they don't last long. Well, not that they don't last long. They don't stay long. They get the fuck out of there. Like, they are very grateful that I did not try to rob them, and if I ever see you again, we'll say hi. But there's a lot of people. It's like, fuck, man, I'm glad he got the fuck out of here, because he was not going to do well here. You know, like, he was going to die. Or she was going to die. She was... A lot of, like, I'd seen a lot of very pretty little girls just turn themselves into absolute fucking heroin whores.
That's really sad.
Almost overnight, man. And you can't do nothing. You can't stop them. You can't, like, I'm a fucking bum too. Like, oh, okay, Kenaydah, why don't you fucking put another fucking round in your mouth pipe? You know, it's like, who the fuck's gonna listen to me, right? Like, it's not that it was a secret that I still did fucking copious amounts of fucking various powders.
Yeah.
I just didn't do them on the 800 block. That was just keep it the fuck off of here, because then the cops don't fuck with you here. It's like, okay, good thing.
Yeah.
And I kind of, but once they've hit that heroin whore stage,
that's sad though. Okay,
I don't feel for them, you know.
So, and as someone
same thing with the
like,
dudes. Same. Once they hit
who end
that
up
fucking
in Boys Town.
Once they end up at the fucking Boys Town, I don't feel bad for them, because I can say without a shadow of a fucking doubt, to this fucking day, I don't know one fucking sex trade worker that wasn't voluntarily putting them fucking dicks or vaginas near their fucking faces. Not one of them. A lot of them looked forward to it. They knew, oh, this is going to be a good night, you know? Like, so fuck all that. Oh, there's people that are forced into it. Well, there are. I'm not going to say perhaps. Yeah. I didn't know any of them.
You didn't know any that were doing it for a passport kind of thing.
Yeah,
But I'm sure they're out there. Like,
oh yeah, they're guaranteed they're out there. I'm not saying they don't exist. I am saying I
never encountered them.
But I just, you know, Boys Town is fucking creepy. You know, like, but the ones I spoke to were pretty good at it because they made a pretty decent living, and that's
right. Have any like TMZ moments?
What are those?
Downtown Vancouver all the time, like celebrity sightings or interactions.
There was a couple good ones. A believe it or not moment was we were paid $50 to sit at the art gallery steps and just keep our mouths shut and not do anything overly noticeable while they filmed a scene for one of the X-Files episodes.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
We were not allowed to eat from the table. We were just supposed to sign this fucking release form.
You may not eat from the catering table.
Sign the release form. This is the area.
Take your $50.
This is apparently the area where we are supposed to remain. I think it was like 2.5 hours or something like this. It was just, hey, you guys fit what we're doing, blah, blah. And we didn't even know what the fuck it was. Like, through either not asking or we didn't want to know. They're like, hey, we're shooting some stuff here, we're setting up, because we were there before they were, straight up, man.
Yeah.
We're like, fuck, what the fuck are you guys doing? You know, and they came up and they got a bunch of people. It wasn't just us. There was me, fucking Stoop, fucking Turtle. Like, they probably handed out fucking $600 or $700 to like a whole crowd of like not just skids but just people that are already there with their stuff. Like, do you mind doing that? And we all fucking got her and we listen to this guy fucking give a little fucking cackle, like don't do anything, you know, like don't do anything, draw attention
stupid,
to yourselves. And it would give you $50 bucks.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird. It's just like, really, is that how this works? And people are like, no, this isn't how this works. This is some college thing. Everybody said it was an episode of the fucking X-Files.
Cool.
Yeah.
You never figured out which one?
No, we've seen them all, and you can see the art gallery plain as day. There's more back shots than there are front shots, and I'm not in any of the front shots. It could be because all of the front shots, there's always a Mulder or a Scully, and we never seen either one of those people, which is another reason why we didn't really know what the fuck it was. But it was an episode of the X-Files. Somebody said they saw fucking Duchovny. They're like, oh, I seen him. All right, so I guess it's the X-Files. And we just kind of left it at that because I got $50 and it was 3 days ago. So fucking, you know.
Cool.
And then we went to a Biohazard and Stompbox concert up in the Commodore. Nelson had told the story earlier on that. And I'd met Sebastian Bach upstairs backstage at the Biohazard concert, and that was pretty cool because he had a joint, and I asked him what he was smoking. He's like, yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, he was kind of a dick about it, but later on he'd see me, and he was like, and he gave me a doob. I don't know if he found it on the ground or if he rolled it special for me because he was sitting in the bathroom crying because he was mean to me or something. But he saw me and he was like, hey man, blah, 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 and he said fucking some weird shit.
Was he wearing his like Sebastian Bach like leather pants and all that?
No, there were
shit?
Jeans. I think he had cowboy boots on. Jeans, some like it looked like a motorcycle kind of a riding style.
Like vest.
No, it was a jacket.
Oh, okay.
It had sleeves and stuff. It didn't look like a leather rocker thing at all. He was actually dressed pretty casual for the whole thing. He's like, oh, here, man, fucking go smoke on this or some weird fucking shit. And I was just kind of, oh my God, you're back. Because it was Sebastian Bach. Like, I'm like, well, fuck. I didn't hear a fucking single word he said. He was holding a joint. I'm just taking joint. I'm like, oh, yeah, thanks. Thanks. Oh, yeah. And I put it in my pocket, and it was one of the fucking best tubes I'd ever smoked to this day. Maybe it was just because it was a Starstruck joint, but fuck, man, it was
Starstruck joint.
And that's a true story, and it's
so
something.
Should people be giving money to panhandlers then? Like that's
Absolutely.
an argument I used to get into
they
with
should be, because these people still need to fucking eat, man. And I know it sounds like a bunch of enabling bullshit, but, you know, like, these people aren't fucking, you know, useless fucking drug fucking fiends. Like, that money you give them isn't always going for dope, man. You don't know when these people are actually fucking hungry and gotta stick food in their face. And rather than, you know, maybe some of them turning to, like, robbing people like you or your cars, you know, kicking them down fucking 35 cents ain't gonna fucking, you know, buy them a bag of heroin. But it's gonna get some change out of your fucking pocket. It's gonna calm them down a bit. You know, they might see society as not so much of a fucking threat. And any little step forward's a good step forward if you really wanted to fucking do anything, you know what I mean? Like, fuck, man, like, you're not gonna find us. Oh, you fucking, what are you giving me 50 cents for? They're gonna say thank you, have a nice day,
Yeah.
and that's gonna be the end of it. You know, you're gonna be 50 cents lighter or a toonie lighter, and you know, you've just fucking gotten this guy one step farther away from bricking somebody's car window for a cell phone. You know.
That's a good way to look at it.
That's how it worked for me, man. You either give me money or I'm gonna go get money. You know, how is this gonna work?
Yeah, because that's a common argument, I think. You know, like, oh, don't. It's like I think it was the mayor of Toronto, or was it mayor of Ottawa? It was like
I don't know.
Had that "don't feed the pigeons" comment.
You
about
never,
why you should.
you never know though, man.
Give money to panhandlers.
You never know what this person's game or what this person's reason is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can't, like even after all I said, I don't judge them all the same. Like I don't judge them at all, to be technical about it, but like I still don't feel sympathy because like I was there for quite some time, and yeah, a lot of bad shit happened to me, but I had a lot of fucking fun doing it all. I don't regret very much of it at all. Just some things that were just some really hard fucking losses. A couple of things I wish I didn't have to fucking see or be a part of. Nothing super sketchy or illegal, but it's, you know, some of these people are gone now, and it really put a stress on some fucking friendships that you know, a lot of us living, you know, sort of have to remember in this kind of shit. And yeah, there's not very much of it I'd fucking take back at all. If I was put at the fucking SkyTrain station, I might turn left instead of turning right. But that's, yeah, man, like it ate my brain like a fucking termite in a goddamn fucking log house. But I learned a lot of shit that they don't teach you in school, man. I learned a lot of stuff about people that I wish I didn't fucking know. It's not even that I know it, but it's you develop a kind of a sense for, I can't say good and bad people, but you know right away if somebody is just not genuine. You know they don't have their Microsoft seal of approval. You know what I mean? It's like, no, dude, you're fucking fishy. Beat it. You know?
Right.
You get good at not trusting the right people being homeless very fast. And if you don't, you fucking pay for it.
You're gonna have a bad time.
You keep paying for it until you fucking learn, man. Until you learn and you adjust. Until you fucking figure these fucking people out for yourself. And there's only so many ways they can get you. There's only so many ways somebody can talk you out of your fucking money, man.
Right.
And there's only so many right answers to, okay, how long, when, how much, you know. These answers should be very quick. You know, like that's just one thing of spotting a non-drug deal. It's like, no, dude, no, you know, now you're saying 15, fuck off, get away from me. You know, it's like, fuck. A lot of these folks, they don't understand how good they actually fucking have it. Even as far as where civilization goes, like they didn't need to be born in Canada. They could have been born in South Africa or parts of like frozen Siberia to like some weird Russian couple that have lived there for 80 years, and now you're the third human that lives in that entire part of Siberia. So there are fucking way bigger fucking problems than all of Western life, and being a freeloading street urchin kind of taught me that in an ironic sort of way. and to appreciate just about anything that you have, that you actually want, anything that you've gotten in your life that you're like, oh fuck, I wish I had that. And the minute you get it, like, you appreciate that a whole lot fucking more when you thought that your life was gonna be fucking Sombrio Beach in a backpack, you know, like, and now you reintegrate into society and you're like, fuck man, like, you start amassing stuff and you realize it's like, fuck man, like, statement.
Yeah. I find one of the reasons I thought that this would be such a interesting thing to kind of talk about is because I think, like a lot of counterculture subjects, it gets a kind of reefer madness treatment from like regular people.
It totally does, man. You see 3 junkies at a park and oh my god, every fucking homeless person is gonna fucking steal my baby and sell them for heroin.
Yeah.
I totally get that. And I don't want to spread that hysteria because even these junkies, even the junkies that I have no use for, that I avoid like the very plague of fucking self, these people aren't fucking stupid. You know what I mean? Like, they don't want to go to jail. They don't want to be soaking wet and smell like fucking piss. They don't want to be fucking seen as bad fucking people. Like, so they might ask you for money and they might look a little fucking sketchy. Don't, you know, like, they're not all going to jab you in the face with a needle and take your wallet, okay? Some of them might, most of them won't, okay? And I think that sort of thing applies to any subculture or group of people. Like, you're always going to get a couple of people in a group that just make it look fucking horrible. And maybe that's my problem with society. I'm judging all fucking civilians on the whininess of all of the ones I've ever met.
Right.
You know, like...
But yeah, and I thought it would be interesting because it often... people either think of it, they kind of think of it exclusively in one way. Like, either total reefer madness style, like, oh my god, every junkie is a lost cause and they're gonna steal all my things and they're just waiting to stab me in an alleyway. Or they think, oh, all bums are just there by choice and, you know, if they could just pull themselves up, you know what I mean? People tend to simplify it.
No matter where you fucking go, I don't care what people want to fucking say about this either. No matter where you go, there's always some kind of code. There's always some group of regulars that set precedent for how one will behave.
Right.
When you're in the area, be it because they're the fucking, oh, this is my block and you're gonna do it, or they'll be like, no, dude, we're all really cool down here and you're gonna chill the fuck out. You know, like, that's usually the 2 most common codes you're gonna find of the streets is, this is my fucking street, or hey, chill the fuck out.
Right. One of the nicest things that you saw happen while you were homeless, like the most heartwarming.
Oh, there was all kinds of shit. Well, just how, like, the niche groups of friends banded together will go without saying. The whole just sense of community should just go without saying.
Right.
It was how there was, like, I remember I was with this fucking charity girl this one time on fucking Douglas and Yates, and we were trying to bum smokes, and this couple came up and they gave us a baggie with a $5 bill, 2 cinnamon hearts, and a condom in it, and they were walking around giving them to all of the homeless people. Every one of them had a $5, like.
So what was the $5 for, you think?
Just here, you're a boy and a girl, and it was Valentine's Day. That was the thing too.
Oh, okay.
So I should point that out. It was a Valentine's Day, and we were just bumming smokes. We're just a couple of street kids that hang out.
Yeah.
And it was an awkward.
That's cute and charming.
They were. I thought that. Yeah, I was like, I still remember that. There was the duck lady. You can Google her. She was really cool. she had a duck that she pushed around in a baby carriage, and apparently this duck was like in TV shows and commercials and stuff, and she would push him around and people would get their pit, and she was super cool. She's like, no, don't touch him on the back, that means go forward and he'll jump out of the... So if you want to touch him, you pet him on his front, and she'd show you how to pet him, and you could pet him anytime you want. She'd talk to you, she'd fucking, she'd give a shit. She was really cool. There were the creepy Christian kids. They were kind of neat because they'd hang out with you and they'd rent hotels, and like I didn't really trust them for a while because like they all had like fucking straight up Lion Witch in the Wardrobe style fucking nicknames. Like their leader called herself Aslan and this called herself Lionheart. Sorry, but there was an Aslan.
Lionheart's a Care Bear, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you know what I mean though. Okay, but like very I've never drank a beer in my life nicknames, and I want to sound like the badassest of the sober fucking folks. So she called herself Lionheart. There was but they'd rent hotels and they'd like fucking order pizza and shit, and you just had to hang out with them and let them fucking tell you about like why they fucking found God. Just tell them.
Come to Bible study, basically.
Yeah, and just listen to them fucking bullshit. You eat their food and you answer their questions. And they were actually kind of, because they'd let you smoke in the hotel rooms. You could roll joints. They didn't give a fuck. They just wanted to make sure that they're doing their little Christian pilgrimage or whatever. They were actually really fucking cool. I never felt like I was taking advantage of these people because they're like, hey, you want to come up fucking hang out? I'm like, all right, if you're back in town, fucking come see us tonight. You there for a while? Okay. And they'd tell you where they were, and you tell the guy at the desk, hi, I'm here to see the fucking whatever.
Were they Mormons or?
No, it was. I'm trying to remember the outreach project, the something outreach. They had this like very organized name for it. Just you're here to see us. It wasn't like Christian, but it was like a religious reference outreach project or some fucking. But yeah, and they were pretty cool. I didn't mind hanging out with them. I thought that was like something that these kids didn't have to do because it was probably their own money. They'd rent a hotel room for like long weekends and stuff. They'd come for holidays. Right. You'd always see them around the holidays. You'd see them 2 or 3 times throughout the summer. And they're always fucking super chill. Fucking Lionheart was, she's kind of screwy. Like, she might have been like a bit of a drunk herself, but like they never did.
Drunk or something.
They always refused everything you tried to offer them. Like, you don't smoke? Dude, no, I don't smoke. I just fucking, Some of them would just be like weird, like they try to act all goofy, and you'd laugh because you're like, oh no, dude, stop, that's not funny. And you'd
give them the courtesy laugh.
Yeah, some of them were pretty cringy, but like that was fucking super cool. Any of the organizations that run the food bands, the Blue Bus, I think was probably the best thing ever. Oh, actually, in Victoria. I think it was. Yes, it was in Victoria. There's that church. It's got the little courtyard now. It's all fenced off. It's an old iron fence, and it's a very well-kept yard. It's just off... it's that little church. You used to be able to go up there. The old caretaker, the priest, used to stay in the church. You could knock on that door. He would come out and he would count how many, and he would go back in and he would make everybody a sandwich. Aww. And he would come out and he would give you a little blessing and tell you to be, and he would send you on your way. There was one in Edmonton too, a church that you could ring the doorbell, and whoever was in there at the time, lady, guy would come out and she'd be like, oh, hi, okay, just 1 second, and she'd count you in. She'd come out with like a little juice box and a sandwich.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah, stuff like that was really cool.
Yeah.
The Blue Bus too.
Kind of like keeps your faith and cool. Yeah. Well, it's good to know that.
Yeah, it's really hard to starve to death on the West Coast. It's really, really hard to starve to death in Vancouver, Victoria, and Nanaimo parts.
It'd be pretty hard to starve to death anywhere in Canada.
It's especially
unless you're in the middle of nowhere.
It's extra hard to starve to death.
Yeah.
In Victoria, you can freeze to death if you're not ready for how cold it actually gets overnight, and you just try to sleep in your shorts all drunk in fucking Beacon Hill Park. Like it'll go down to like 3-4 degrees overnight, which is not warm enough to keep you alive.
Well, you're not gonna die, but
Well, you might.
it'd be unpleasant.
It would be bad. Yeah.
There's other cities in Canada where yes, you could totally.
Oh yeah, but people aren't. That is just insane. Some like these Winnipeg fucking skids, man. Like they are insane.
Yeah.
Why? Like I understand. Like the fucking panning is probably fucking fantastic all winter because people are like, oh yeah. If they want to take their hands out of their pockets, they're probably giving you at least a 5. You know, so I get it. But Jesus Christ, man, I couldn't do it in Ottawa. Like that's I gotta always come home for the winter. You know, at the very least, I'd be out in the fucking shed with a barbecue, keeping it fucking warm, just so I could stay out of the house. But see, every time I have this conversation with everybody, I always wonder, like, why am I having this conversation? Because it's always like so plain and simple to me. It just makes sense. Like, of course I was fucking homeless, dude. Why wouldn't I? But it's like I don't know. I get to this point where I'm like, why did I just tell you all of that? Probably again, you know, because like.
Final thoughts on the.
I miss sleeping behind the art gallery. I really miss those lions. I miss waking up in the morning to hearing the buses and the seagulls and seeing those giant concrete lions. That is one of my.
That's your nostalgia.
Yeah, and smoking meth under the side.
Also the meth.
No, man, because this was like a super cool meth tunnel.
Meth tunnel.
Behind Granville Street, whatever that is, Georgia, is it? Or is that one of these streets? Fucking whatever. Behind Granville Street, where the squat used to be, in the bottom, like the basement of the squat, went under the sidewalk. And if you look in Vancouver, there's these like little glass purple square bricks in the sidewalk, and that's to let light down into the little room that's under that sidewalk. And our squat had one of these little fucking areas under that sidewalk. So like in the middle of the day, it was cool because it was in a basement and it's not
you're underground.
And it's trippy as fuck because there's people walking over top of it, so you're like kind of like smoking your fucking shit.
Is that really the ideal place to do meth though? What if you
I
get
loved
all
it,
fucking
man.
like paranoid and
No, nobody can get in there. Nobody can see me down there. It's like they can't see a light or flicker in the middle of the day. It's like, oh, I think I saw a flash under the sidewalk. No, it was. I never even thought of it. I just thought that was like, oh, fuck, this is awesome. I'm gonna come back here one of these times. It's dope. I'm gonna sit here and smoke it. It's totally what I said to myself.
Did you ever go?
Yeah, I used to sit there all the time. That's what I'm saying. I miss smoking meth down there.
Okay.
I miss smoking everything down there, but meth the most. That's why I don't do jib anymore, because I really like this stuff, and it's a lot of fun. I don't see any reasons to not do it other than the reason I just said, is that I don't see it. That is the best reason why I don't do it. It's one of the greatest drugs on earth, man. That's why it kills you so well, because it's so much fun. All of them are like that. There are fucking... Somebody else fucking said it. Billy Hicks said it. Like, most of my drug experiences are good experiences. Just like, I don't have a lot of bad drug stories. Because that was the point to doing the drugs, was to have a good time, and I was successful almost all of those times. There were a few times I had some bad trips, but that's the law of the land. Like, that is going to happen. There were a few times I've been ripped off, fucking buying shit off the wrong person who was just there to rip me off. But that, again, that's what happens. All of the rest of my drug experiences have been incredibly positive.
Except for the hand.
Oh yeah, but that's my own fault. That wasn't necessarily the drugs. That was me being an idiot on the fucking drugs. But I've had good times after that. It's not like the hand ever stopped me from fucking just doing everything.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for talking to me at the kitchen table today about all of these things that I don't think people normally get to hear
I don't
from
know.
someone who's seen and done it all.
Well, you hang out with me and Nelson all the time, and we're like a couple of old war buddies that tell fantastic tales of the streets, and it's I understand how a lot of it can sound conflated or exaggerated, but it's really not. And if you're listening to this and you're homeless and you're on that free McDonald's Wi-Fi on your iPhone or something, and this isn't about you. This is about my experiences and what I'm answering to when she asks me the questions. So when I say I don't have any sympathy for you, that's fucking true, but it doesn't mean it has anything to do with you. And
I also don't wish any specific harm on anybody.
This was the 90s, man. This was a long fucking time ago. And looking back, which I hope you will someday, you're going to understand, hopefully, what I mean by you just stop giving a shit. You stop. It's just, you get to a point that if you do get off the streets, you're so fucking sick of you're too fed up to even fucking kill yourself. It's like, fuck. It's like, I'm fucking done with this shit. And you're not, it doesn't make you selfish, but it does. You're a different person. You're a little colder, you're a little more accepting, but for the most part, it's that's what it did to me. This wasn't meant to paint homeless folks. This was meant to illustrate my experience.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that you did. I think it's cool to hear about. And truth is always stranger than fiction. So
it really is, like some of the stuff, like just living behind the art gallery, man. Like one of the people that help out periodically at Freethinkradio with some stuff was still is one of my best friends, but we've done a lot of PCP together. We and just to think of the stuff that we used to do is it's very I don't get to hear that stuff very often either, is what I'm saying. It's as much of a fucking surprise to me a lot of the time when I remember that.
Right.
It's like, oh my god, yes, like
that did happen.
Yeah. Like, I've done some pretty amazing things, I guess, and I've done some really fucking stupid things, but the hand is by far some of the dumbest. I can think of a few really dumb things that I've done, but I'd rather not.
Maybe another time.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe some things are just...
Some things are just... Yeah.
best left fucking not completely remembered.
All right, well...
I'm remembering too much already.
All right, well, we'll shut her down there before you have some kind of triggering.
Yeah.
All right, so for the rest of this month, I have some really awesome guests coming to the kitchen table that I'm super looking forward to. Jonathan Pajot is going to be coming on near the end of the month sometime, hopefully. And in a few weeks' time, I'm going to be speaking with Professor Rachel Fulton Brown from the University of Chicago, a medievalist in the history department there, and also a big defender of Milo Yiannopoulos. So you can imagine what a fascinating person she must be just from those two facts right there. So I'm really looking forward to talking to her. And I have some other guests possibly lined up that are going to remain a mystery for now, but they're also very exciting, so stay tuned. And as usual, If there's something you want to say on Freethink Radio, or something that you make that you want to see us play on Freethink Radio, send it to us. freethinkradio@gmail.com, Freethink Radio on Twitter, Freethink Radio fan page on Facebook. We check all of those things, and there's a good chance that we will even get back to you.
Very good chance.
Yep, a high likelihood of that happening.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thanks again, everybody. We'll catch you next time.